here we go into round 8. And I like what they've done with the background here. The little blue and red. And where it looks like we got an Arceus mirror finally. A lot of Mew, a lot of Arceus. Not an Arceus mirror yet. It looks like we got the Melanie build versus the Dark Box build. Now this round is effectively a win-in for the most part. It looks like Raphael went first. And they got the boss on the Arceus. They won't get the KO here. They don't have the KO, but they do have a hit for 180, which is still a really good hit to get. I don't hate hitting a Sobble there, to be honest, and just taking a knockout on a Sobble. I don't know if it's more beneficial, but KOing Sobbles is pretty good to limit your opponent's outs to stuff. I don't know. I actually don't have much experience in the Arceus mirror match because I haven't played a whole ton of Arceus and Teleon, but knocking out Sobble there doesn't seem bad, and maybe going with like a more aggressive route of just seeing more cards and setting up your side of the field a little bit more. They also play Dark Energy, so they also are running Moltres themselves. And Moltres is a big deal in the mirror match in general because it does lead to one-hit KOs on Arceus in the late game. I think they benched Dunsparce. That's a good question. I think they benched Dunsparce to play around Escape Rope here. Because sometimes the Arceus decks play... sometimes Arceus decks play Zigzagoon plus Choice Belt. So what Victor could do here is go Choice Belt, DTE, Escape Rope, Goon Ping, the Arceus V, and then get the knockout. So I think Raphael might be playing around Escape Rope here. Escape Rope plus Goon Ping. It is a lot for Victor to have, and Victor, I think more likely than not, probably does not play those cards, but it is possible, or maybe plays one or the other, or none. But it does allow you to play around kind of everything. So that's kind of, I'm pretty sure that's why they put that Dunsparce down here, because it does play around that. It does play around that. What made me go with Mew? I think this is the best overall deck. We couldn't get anything to beat it. I think Mew is a lot more. There's a lot more depth to Mew and a lot more skill involved than people realize than just drawing well turn one and then going going aggressive. All right, there's the hit and then the pass, and also Raphael used their V-Star power, and it looks like they're like playing for the top deck here. They use their V-Star power, which means they should have something to work with here. Capture energy active. Okay, so it looks like they want to be able to retreat this Arceus. Otherwise it makes no sense to put the capture energy on the active. I'm sure we'll see a Sobble grabbed here. And then just KO on the active would be fine, I guess. Ideally, you'd probably want to like boss KO the bench Arceus, though. If you could. And that was just the judge for the draw supporter. So they did have some kind of follow-up there. I'm sure they probably had the judge in the hand. That wasn't their top deck, but... we'll see. Ever reveal the list I played? No. Do I prefer a centralized meta? I don't care. As long as the game is fun and good to play, that's all I care about. Here we go. The 4's off the judge. Have I played a lot of Mew Mirror, and do I think it's a skillful matchup? Yes. I think a lot of people have no clue what to do in the Mew Mirror match, and that's the main reason I played Mew at Salt Lake City. I did lose 2 Mew Mirrors, but it was against the catcher build, and when you play against the catcher build, it's basically just RNG at that point. If they don't play catchers, and don't hit... If they play catchers and don't hit the heads when they need to, then you can gain an advantage. 2 Arceus V-Star prize here for Victor. Actually, they're just out of Arceus V-Star right now. That is really bad. That is really bad. But if they don't hit the heads, then you just have the better deck. If they don't hit the 1 heads they need to when they have it, then you just have the better deck. If they hit the heads, you can still win. It just depends on how it went. But if you play against a non-catcher build, I feel like there's very much some depth to the mirror match, for sure. The catchers don't give them an advantage, though. It just makes it like full RNG at that point. It almost feels like the catchers don't actually give them an advantage. It just makes the game go into more RNG. All right, so research here for Victor, but Victor doesn't have any Arceus V-Star. Unless they play 4, they could play 4. But if they don't, let's see if they realize it here. They didn't really look through their deck that long. Oh, it looks like they're actually playing like the same deck, though. It looks like Victor also plays Dark Energy. It looks like they maybe are playing like the same 60 even. They could be both copying the list from Liverpool. I think they both have like the Crobat VMAX and everything in here. Yeah, Raphael's in a ridiculously good spot here. Victor can still get the knockout on this Arceus just by attacking with the V, but I don't know if they've realized yet that they prize both their what's it called. They maybe have, and this is actually how you want to play. Sheesh. Well, that was a terrible draw. So they don't even have the opportunity to go find the Arceus V-Star and then not see it and then be like, well, that sucks. But this is how you want to play. Even if you prize both Arceus V-Star, you don't want your opponent to know you prize both Arceus V-Stars. You don't want to play in a way that lets your opponent know that. So this is the correct way to play. If Victor does or does not know that they're both prized, playing just kind of calm and cool and collected is the way you want to play, because you don't want to give your opponent info they don't need. Now gets one of them off the prize cards, so we'll have that to work with. Has their Moltres prize though, which is bad, because that's going to be a big card in the late game. To get 1-hit KOs on each other's Arceus potentially. Yo, appreciate 24 month resub there, Mitch. This is a cool stream, being able to watch some IRL play. Thanks for always sharing your thoughts with the community. Of course, appreciate the constant support there, Mitch. All right, Raphael looks like shady dealings for Ultra Ball, so must have some expendable cards in the hand. And then probably a supporter to follow up. Gets rid of the Crobat VMAX. Gets rid of the baby Moltres. But it can be recovered with Clara later on. It just means you can't make boss plays with the baby Moltres anymore. And then it looks like a research to follow it up. Getting rid of a collapsed stadium. Okay. No opportunity to really use the collapsed stadium. You could have still put it in play here to limit your opponent's bench. But probably doesn't really make a difference. And then I'm sure here for Raphael, they're looking for Quick Shooting Inteleon or a Choice Belt. And they still have one Sabo left open, which they could shady dealings for into either of those cards. There's the Choice Belt, though. They drew into it, so they're able to get the knockout here. And this will put them... This just continues to put them further and further ahead. They just keep going. They just keep going. On Victor's side, you got to like play a Melanie or a Raihan next turn to actually be able to attack with an Arceus. Shady dealings here. Raphael. Evolution Incense. Another Arceus V-Star to protect the V, so now that can't be boss KO'd. I like it. And then just maybe go into a Sharon's Care of your own on the next turn after you hit into theoretically hit into an Arceus V-Star. Has a Quick Ball in the hand. Has a Shady Dealings. Drizzile. It's the Crobat. No Sobble. I'm sure they would have rather had a Sobble there than a Crobat and an Arceus. The Crobat's probably solid. You never know when you're going to want the Crobat. But the probably want a Sobble there. All right, we got some dealings from Victor. There's the Raihan. Okay, so they will be able to attack this turn, but they are so far behind. I don't know if it matters, to be honest. Like, they will be able to attack this turn, but I feel like it actually is not going to matter. Like, I think Raphael's just going to be able to 2-hit KO this Arceus, and the game will basically be over. Because I don't even know if Victor will have time to use a Charon's Care. And if you put down, I guess maybe Victor has to, like, if you bench Arceus V here, then if Raphael just has boss, they just win the game. They just go boss KO. So maybe you have to bench it and just hope they don't have boss, so that way you can Charon's Care on your following turn. But Raphael is so far ahead that even if you Charon's Care and then they Charon's Care, they're still winning the game. So still a really rough spot for Victor. And I don't even see a V in the hand. They could level ball to get a quick ball 4-1 though. Okay, so they can get it. They have a Pal Pad as well. Maybe they should have Pal Padded and used Melanie instead of Raihan. But I guess Raihan guaranteed the DTE, so it's probably correct to play it this way. Eyeing up the Judge, and let's see what else they go for. Yeah, looks like they're going to go for the Melanie. Raihan instead, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me, because Raphael is only going to try and KO a 2-prizer from here. I guess you could try and attack with your Shady Dealings and Inteleon next turn as Victor. But it looks like it's not in there. Unless I missed it. It might be prized. And then you could Raihan afterwards. But the Raihan take seems a little bit weird to me just because it's unlikely to be able to get utilized. Oh no, I see the Shady Dealings telling it. But I guess that's the plan here then from Victor, is to attack with the Arceus, but there's no water energy in the deck. So I don't even think it's possible to attack with the... there's no water energy in the deck, I don't think. So I don't even know if it's possible to attack with the Inteleon at this point. This is not good for Victor. I also think maybe you hold the Dunsparce here as Victor, so you actually could have done a Collapse Stadium play next turn where you retreat your Arceus V-Star and then Collapse Stadium, discard it, and kind of heal it effectively that way. And that way you don't have to Charon's Care to heal next turn. I don't even know how many energy are left in the deck here for Victor as well. It didn't seem like a lot. I could have been mistaken on that as well. Maybe I just can't see basic energy today. So... But yeah, not looking good for Victor, obviously. Like I said, Raphael can kind of just win next turn. There's no big charm here for Victor to protect the Arceus on the bench. Here we go. Thinking about the Choice Spell. I think you just hold the Choice Spell. I don't see a reason to put the Choice Spell in play here. They have to bench that Arceus, right? They have to bench the Arceus here. No, they're just going to hit. But the thing is, if you do this, then Raphael just hits, and then what do you do? I just don't know what you do here after Raphael hits. Maybe your plan is to go Shady Dealings, like Charon's Care, Shady Dealings attack, but then you still have to bench an Arceus V, and then you still lose to boss. So I feel like you may as well just like set up the Arceus V this turn now, because you lose to boss one way or the other. But maybe Victor's gonna try and combo it with a Judge. Maybe Victor's hoping to top deck Judge, and then go from there. So yeah. Yeah, Raphael has 2 prize cards left. It says 4 on the graphic up there, but they do have 2 prize cards left. Okay, we get some dealings. Let's see what Raphael goes for. Probably a Charon's Care, I'd imagine. Scoop Up Net plus Palpad. Okay. Charon's Care might be in the discard pile. Yep, there's the Charon's Care. And I'm sure if there's a boss's orders in there, that's what Raphael will grab. But, yep, and there's the boss. Okay, so then we're going to see the Scoop Net reset on the Shady Dealings Inteleon. They will Shady Dealings once again. And then, unless they already have like a Charon's Care in hand if they play 2, but most people just play the 1 and a Palpad, so that's probably what we're going to see here. And then, yeah, Shady Dealings go get the Charon's Care. And maybe Scoop Up Net again just to reset that Inteleon, just to have as many Shady Dealings out as possible next turn. There's the Charon's Care, and they get to grab one more card here. They could grab a boss, but if you get Marnied, you'd want to draw into the boss, and you have Shady Dealings in the hand, so you actually don't want to grab boss here. You want the boss in the deck. So a Scoop Up Net reset would sound pretty good to me if they have a Scoop Up Net left. It looks like they're going for a Clara, maybe. Just pretty unsure, it looks like. Could go for the Big Charm. I guess one thing about the Moltres in this matchup is... I think the Nets just makes the most sense here. Just get access to as many Shade Dealings as possible. I think this makes the most sense here. Actually, the one thing about the Moltres in this matchup, I don't think either player... both are playing the list from Liverpool, neither of them play Quick Shooting. I don't know why I find that so funny, but when Victor like flipped over the cards, he's like, all right, I don't want to see them anymore. Quick Ball as well from Raphael. It looks like it's probably going to be a fail. A fail on the Quick Ball. They did prize 2 Sobble, I think. I think Raphael still has 2 Sobble prized. Those are the last 2 prize cards, I think. And then we should see the Care here. Then we'll probably see the Scoop Net on the Inteleon, just to reset to have access to as many... All right, there's just a concede there from Victor, which is definitely reasonable. Like I said, I think Victor should have benched the V last turn, because your opponent using Charon's Care or having boss if you have the V in play is literally the same thing. So I think that was definitely a mistake there from Victor. Just should have benched the V and be like, all right, have the boss. And if they don't have the boss, you're like, all right, cool, they don't have the boss. See, you conceded, because you conceded anyway here as Victor, which is like, if you're conceding now, you're going to concede, like, yeah, I think Victor should just like try to set up that Arceus and have more options next turn, just be like, all right, you don't have the boss. And then if they don't have the boss, you actually can do something from there. But I feel like you can't do anything from here. If they have literally, like, even if they just attack you, like, what do you do as Victor next turn if you didn't bench the Arceus V, right? You Charon's Care, and then what? Like, you still lose. So you may as well just bench your V and load it up and be like, now I have more options if you whiff or misplay, right? Give yourself the highest out to win the game, even if it involves your opponent misplaying or whiffing. If your opponent doesn't misplay or whiff, you're losing anyways, so. But now we get to see Victor go first in this one. See how much that changes up. Definitely a big advantage in the Arceus mirrors, as long as you hit the Arceus plus energy. But even if you whiff the energy, if you just hit the Arceus, you can still Melanie next turn. And it's pretty easy to pull off, actually, with the ability of Arceus. That Starbirth's pretty good at setting up combo plays, so. Hopefully Victor gets the return Arceus plus energy turn 1. give themselves, you know, a good comeback in this next game. It looks like they have Arceus plus energy, but it looks like that's almost all they have there. They do have the Crobat. So they do have the Quick Ball, so they could get the Crobat if it's not prized. Or they could go for a Sobble and hope for a top-up. Double Arceus V-Star, this time prized for Raphael. And a Sobble. Dunsparce's going to stay in there. Nobody likes him. And the Shady Dealings Inteleon. And they probably only play one. So those are pretty bad prize cards for Raphael. The double V-Star is huge. If the first V-Star goes down before you draw a prize card, you could be in big trouble and might have to, like, Clara for a turn, which is bad. Yeah, so that's rough. Yeah, rough prize cards here for Raphael. A Quick Ball away, a Water Energy. We'll probably have to see the Crobat grabbed here from Victor, which you don't want to do, but you have the VMAX, so you can VMAX it to kind of like protect it. And you could even, you can only Crobat here for 2 though for Victor. This is so bad. I wouldn't hate to see a Sobble bench maybe, and then hope to top deck a Level Ball or a Drizzile. I don't know. Is that correct though? That feels really bad as well. I don't know. This is actually just not that great of a start for Victor. This Crobat's got to be good. This Crobat's got to be good. We'll see. And then I didn't even realize the Crobats start from Raphael, so the double bats out, so that kind of evens it up a little bit for Victor. And Victor will actually have time to KO this Crobat before it can evolve to a VMAX, which is also a big deal to try and get those prize cards. All right, Crobat for 2. I mean, if you just get like an Evolution Incense here. Oh, Research and Judge. Okay, so we got some stuff in the hand for Victor, and I think we'll just see the pass from here. No reason to do anything else, I don't think. Yep, there's the pass. So, okay, we've got some draw power here for Victor on the next turn. Losing the boss would actually be pretty bad because they have the boss prize. So, with 1 boss and discard power, 1 prize, you'd have to Pal Pad to recover that boss to be able to utilize it. So, that would be pretty bad. But, yeah. That'd be pretty bad. All right, Energy Search here for Raphael. Also, no Sobble down. Pretty big deal as well. That's a lot of... you lose a lot of outs to just be able to do stuff on the next turn by not having at least 1 Sobble in play. Energy Search for a Water. See what else Raphael is cooking. There's an Ultra Ball. And another Ultra Ball. But I think that might be all they have. They Ultra Ball away the Water here. They might have a Melanie. They might have a Melanie in that hand. We'll see. No, I think the only other card in hand is Arceus. I think the only other card in Raphael's hand is Arceus. So a Sobble and an Arceus to the bench here for Raphael. And the other card in the hand is an Arceus. If Victor plays the Zigzagoon, Victor could KO that Arceus V this turn. Out of the current hand, they probably can't. Yeah, out of the current hand, actually, they just can't. So they could, but they're not going to be able to get it. Also, they probably just don't play the Zigzagoon, to be honest. So we'll see, though. Oh, wait, they have the research. They had a research. I thought they only had a... Wait, what did I say that I thought they had? I thought they had an Arceus V-Star. That's a research, not an Arceus V-Star. Okay, they're cooking. They're cooking. Never mind. I thought their hand was an Arceus V-Star. It was a research the whole time. All right, a lot better of a hand here from Raphael than I thought. And I think it's going to be the pass. I guess the question for Victor is, do you boss hit that Arceus V on the bench, or do you just take these 2 prize cards on the Crobat and set up to boss KO the next Arceus that hits the bench? Both plays seem reasonable to me. There's the evolve to the Crobat. This stops that Crobat from being chased and knocked out for 2 prize cards, and now you force your opponent to kind of boss it. Baiting the Judge because you don't want to lose the boss, but goes with the research instead because you really want to get an attack off this turn, so you don't get to do the boss play. Oh, I guess the boss play was never an option unless you top decked Arceus V-Star or Evolution Incense, so don't mind me on that. There's the Arceus V-Star, got a Bobble, and we got the DTE to the active as well. So pretty good hand here from Victor. The question is, do you want to Starbirth this turn? And I would say yes, just so your opponent doesn't potentially go Starbirth there on their turn, and then also because your opponent could go Starbirth plus Pat to the Peak, and then that'd be like annoying because you don't have access to Starbirth. So I think we'll probably see them grab a V here, and then it looks like a Level Ball, which they'll probably save for a Drizzile. They could also go for... I think you want that V, though. I was like, you could load up the Crobat, but I feel like loading up the V is a little bit better. And then you can also just grab a Level Ball. And then if you top deck a Drizzile, the Level Ball becomes Sobble. Yeah. So that's one thing you shouldn't ever do is like give your opponent free information. Because now Raphael knows that one of those cards was an Arceus V. So what you should do is like take the 2 cards, put them into your hand, shuffle your hand, and then bench the V and then load it up. And your opponent could make the guess that the V came from the V-Star power, but you don't have to let them know that for sure. So you want to try and avoid letting your opponent know things for sure. Like don't give your opponent any free information if you can avoid it. That's not a huge deal and usually won't affect any game state, but if you can avoid it, there's no reason to give your opponent free guaranteed information, right? So always make them think as much as possible. You should also have used your V-Star power before benching the Sobble as well here from Victor. So Victor should have looked at the hand, realized they're using their V-Star power, and then used it, looked at the hand, shuffled the hand, and then benched both the Pokemon, and then played from there. Because you minimize the information you give your opponent. Try and play as disciplined as possible at all points. Because you never know when you're going to do something that could help your opponent or change their mind. All right, over to Raphael. They have to go with Melanie or Raihan this turn. I think they play both. And there's a water energy in the discard pile right here, so they can do that right now. Yeah, here comes the Shady Dealings. And yeah, they'll be getting. They also have their V-Star power to work with as well. So we should see like the Raihan or the Melanie here. Probably the Melanie because you just want to draw. You could guarantee a card off the Raihan, but Raihan's a little bit better when you definitely guarantee need a card. And then the same situation for Raphael as Victor last turn. You kind of want to use your V-Star power. I guess it's like a little bit less important for you to use your V-Star power this turn as Raphael because you did see Victor discard 2 Paths to the Peak. But if they play a 3rd Path to the Peak, you don't want to just like lose access to your V-Star power or have to work really hard to get access to your V-Star power again. So just kind of using it generally is fine. I mean, if you draw the nuts off these 3 cards, like if you drew DTE, V, I don't know, just good cards, you would maybe avoid it. But yeah. And Victor is up those 2 prize cards. So now for this situation for Victor, this now allows Victor to just boss KO that V. So it's important for Raphael to actually get their Big Charm if they play one. And probably like if they V-Star power here, they should go get Big Charm plus DTE. I'd imagine that's what they're going to go get here. We'll see. Okay, they grab 2. And it's DTE. I didn't see a Big Charm. Could be prize. They maybe just don't play it as well. I would like to have seen a Big Charm grabbed here from Raphael if they did have it in the deck. Yeah, there's no Big Charm. So this does allow Victor to go boss KO the Arceus V. We know it's probably not going to happen because Victor has a boss prized and a boss in the discard pile. And I'm not sure where their pal pad is. It's definitely possible that Victor just can't boss this turn, which is also fine. Victor can go with... and the Sobble top deck there is pretty good. They also got to pull off the prize card. So they have like a hand with a ton of options now. So just like a Charon's Care this turn is pretty fine, to be honest, from Victor, if they want to go that route. Another V-Star to protect that. They got the Choice Belt there. Oh, they do have a boss. Okay, they actually got the boss off the prize cards. All right, perfect. So this is perfect for Victor. You chase this Arceus. This is actually why like Echoing Horn in Arceus and Teleon is pretty good for the mirror match. Like you can just force another Arceus down and be like, all right, now I'm gonna draw 2 more and just do it again. That's why Echoing Horn actually in Arceus for the Arceus matchup is pretty cool. But I don't know how good it actually is, to be honest. But it is like an option to like consider including. Because now this next turn, Victor could just go Shady Dealings, boss, Echoing Horn, put Crobat on the bench, knock it out, and then you win. And you could even like get really cute and do some weird Collapse Stadium plays. Well, you can't just card your own Collapse Stadium. You could go like Collapse Stadium, Punkaboo, discard your Collapse Stadium, force open a bench space on your opponent's bench, and then go Target Whistle, boss. But that's like a whole bunch of cards to play. For sure. But it is a thing you could do. Alright, DTE Retreat. I don't know if I like that instead of trying to get a DTE on a different Arceus, to be honest. Like, now that the Arceus on your bench is still just going to get 1-hit KO, like, potentially get boss KO'd. But there's the knockout. No energy search out of the deck. Still 2 Arceus V-Star prize for Raphael, but it's definitely less important now that Victor has gone down this route. Yeah, if Victor was able to get down a fresh Arceus V with the DTE on it, that would open up the play for if Raphael hits your active next turn, then you can go Charon's Care your active, send up a fresh Arceus V-Star. But now if you Charon's Care this turn as Victor, you have to either you send up a damaged Arceus or you leave the damaged Arceus in the active. So can't do as much with that, I guess, but all right, over to Raphael. Let's see what they can put together. I mean, they need to at least hit the active, but I mean, they're in a pretty rough spot, to be honest, overall. We might see Raphael go for the hit with the Shady Dealings in Teleon this turn. If they can set it up. Like, it's definitely a play you want to do. You want to go like that 2-1-2-2 or 2-2-1-2 or 2-1-2-2. If that makes the difference in the prize trade to get that extra hit off with the one prize Pokemon. Try and slow down your opponent a little bit, but see what they're able to put together here. They're definitely behind. I can tell you that much. They are definitely behind. And if Victor does play the Echoing Horn, which I would, if I had to guess, I'm going to go ahead and guess Victor does not play the Echoing Horn. I haven't really seen too many people play it. I've seen it before, but not too often. So if I had to guess, I would say they probably don't play it. But I could definitely see them rocking it for sure. They got Training Court. They use Training Court. What is in their hand? All right, so they're going with the boss. They're going to get the KO this turn. Scoop up net. But this, like, frees up so much, like, this makes, I don't know. It gives Victor a lot of freedom on their turn. Because basically now all Victor has to do, like, if Raphael doesn't bench the Arceus, then Victor just punches the active. And then then what do you even do next turn as Raphael to, like, give yourself a win condition? I don't know. I mean, hitting the active doesn't seem that much better, but maybe hit the active plus, I don't even know, to be honest. Raphael could also be thinking about those prize Arceus V-Stars and just wants to draw some prize cards here. But I don't think that's necessary when your what's called hasn't been hit yet. They also did, actually, they prized their Shady Dealings Intelligence, so they wouldn't have been able to go with an Aqua Bullet play anyways. I mean, this is just looking like Victor's going to win, to be honest. This looks like an Arceus mirror match. Game 1, basically, not exactly the same thing we saw, but pretty similar in terms of, I don't know how it kind of went down. Here we see a Melanie from Victor. Sobble definitely wants to find that foul pad, that pal pad to put some boss back in the deck here at this point from Victor. You want to find the pal pad. Definitely one of the main things you're going to be looking for, because you get both your boss in the discard pile. Has access to that Training Court. Probably going to load up the Drizzile here, so you have the option of, or maybe, you load up the Drizzile, so you have the option of attacking with your Inteleon. And then we'll see where they go from here. They're not benching the Sobble, which is interesting. Not yet, anyways. Oh, they got 2 Sobbles in hand. Jeez, bro. They got Sobbles for days. There's the Drizzile. The Pal Pad is it. Okay, so they're going to line up the Pal Pad, which is definitely what you want. Shady Dealings, get the Pal Pad. You want access to boss. Pal Pad gets double boss. They still have their Charon's Care as well. Like, Victor still has access to a Charon's Care. Like, this one is, I feel like pretty much, I would like to see Raphael scoop, because it's definitely possible this ends up in a tie. And you get to go first in the mirror match as Raphael. So, like, that's a pretty good space to be in. So, I think at this point, I would scoop if I was Raphael. And once they use the Pal Pad for the boss. Because otherwise, their Pal Pad could be prized, but once you see the boss go back to the deck, I'd be like, all right, I think we can concede here. Like, you have nothing set up here. So, even if you Charon's Care here as Raphael, like, what are you doing? Like, Sobble pass? And then they just go boss, KO your dude, and then you lose. So I think it's correct to scoop here. 20 minutes left for game 3. Should be plenty of time to win a mirror match. Get the advantage in the mirror match, and just kind of go from there. But sometimes you'll need 20 minutes. Like, if they both set up a little bit more cleanly, because I think both these games we've seen one player set up way better than the other. So we haven't seen a lot of Charon's Karen happening. Just kind of a lot of chasing of the Arceus. So if you both, like, stumble a little bit in the early game, then we could definitely see quite a longer game here in general from both players. Take a quick ball off the Shady Dealings. Bro, everyone hates Dunsparce, bro. It's so rude. There's the Moltres with 4 prize cards taken. We're looking at 220 damage. So a little bit, not a lot of it though. Not enough of it. Yo, what's going on, Vinny? Okay, so they can attack with the Moltres this turn and hit pretty hard. They can't get the KO, though. It's not going to be taking a 1-hit KO. They have the Choice Belt, though, so they do get pretty close. All right, maybe Raphael sees a play that I haven't seen yet. They do get pretty close here. Capture on the Moltres as well. Do you even want to put anything in play, though? Probably not. The Choice Belt gets them to 250, but they don't. I don't think they play Quick Shooting Inteleon. I don't think they play Quick Judy and Teleon here for Raphael. And they just go with the Judge. No Choice Belt even, so they're only hitting for 220. Damn. Well. I don't think this changes much. I think we will see, because now we know, like, Victor or Raphael's key, the Arceus is sticking in play. So Victor just needs a boss, and they will win the game. 4 cards, so any out to Shady Dealings will do, and I think I see a Scoop Up Net there, so that will be game. Victor's ready to go. He's like, just give it to me. Net, Shady Dealings, boss. They didn't draw for turn. Doesn't matter. There's the boss of the Arceus. Yeah, it's always fine to force your opponent to play it. I think something I'm going to personally start to do more is I'm going to make my opponent, take the actions. Just in case they miscalculate or misplay or something, I'm going to make my opponent, play out the actions. Unless I'm concerned about time. You can kind of go either way. If your opponent knows what's happening, they usually won't misplay. But I've had people be like, I have game. And then I'm like, all right, do it. And then they don't have game. Or they boss the wrong Pokemon or miscalculate their damage, right? So I think it's a pretty safe bet to hope your opponent force him to take the actions. I think it's fine. Raphael should have scooped earlier. I agree. I think Raphael should have scooped earlier. Like, in the idea that there's a best 2 out of 3 going on, the idea that you're in a best 2 out of 3 in the position you're in, I think you want that extra time. Like, you're going first, just kind of ride the advantage of that. And as long as you have enough time, you should be able to win the game with that advantage. So we'll see. Here we go. See how it goes. Raphael looking for that Arceus plus energy, or at the very least an Arceus, so you can Melanie next turn. On the Victor side, I see the Sobble. Ooh, but not much else, I don't think. Raphael, I see Arceus. I don't see energy, though. Maybe both can be slipping up here in this first turn. Will someone prize 2 Arceus V-Star? Raphael's got 1. Only 1, though. Another Sobble making its way to the prize card for Raphael. There they are, the double Arceus V-Star prize. 3 games in a row, someone has prized 2 Arceus V-Star. And the Melanie is prized for Victor as well, which can be a huge deal as far as if you whiff that turn 1. Like right here, if Victor goes for Keep Calling, they could whiff the turn 2 attack. If they don't check that their Melanie's prized. I guess they could fall back on the Raihan, though, always. So with the Raihan not being prized, but Melanie's usually a little bit better early on. All right, there's the energy whiff for Raphael. Doesn't mean they whiff the attack turn 2. They could still pull off the Melanie themselves, but Victor's hand is stinky. No turn 1 Arceus. Looks like the V-Star, the Crobat V-Max, some energy, and yeah, it's just going to be a Keep Calling from Victor, unfortunately for them. And now can Raphael pull off that turn 1 attack? This can get Raphael super far ahead. There's a level ball in the hand for Victor, but that will not lead to a turn 2 Arceus. So it'll lead to, like, I don't know, maybe you can pull off a Trinity Charge, but this is pretty rough. See what Raphael has. Okay, so they could get access to their remaining V-Star. Oh no, actually it's a Victor that prize double V-Star. So they could get access to a V-Star here. The question is it enough to pull off the Melanie play? And only 2 Sobble for Victor as well, which is kind of unfortunate. If you're going to open with a start like that, you hope for, at the very least, to have all 4 Sobbles in that. You're like, all right, I whiffed turn 1 Arceus and energy. I at least get 4 Sobble, right? And then, nope, only 3 Sobble. All right, the dealings are being done. It's an energy search here for Raphael. They take a water energy. Do they attach it? No, to the hand. So if they have Ultra Ball here, if Raphael has Ultra Ball, they actually have the play set up here with Starbirth. But they're doing a lot of shuffling. This makes you think they have a research in the hand. But they have done some shuffling before, a couple times. All right, they had it the whole time. And I see the Melanie in their hand as well, so they just need to grab Ultra Ball DTE here. And they have it. Yeah, they have it. It's looking good for Raphael. Victor whiffs completely. And now Raphael can get a massive lead here. Or they can go for Quick Ball, actually. Quick Ball is better than Ultra Ball. Because that way you don't discard 2 cards. Quick Ball DTE. Looks like Quick Ball DTE to me. This time, not shuffling completely before they go back in. Gets rid of the water. Gonna go ahead and grab themselves another Arceus probably. I could see a Sobble being grabbed as well here. You don't really need an Arceus, but you do want access to that choice belted Arceus as soon as possible to kind of chase your opponent's Arceus Vs and want to KO them. So it makes sense to go after the Arceus V here. Have the option of the choice belt plus V-Star attack next turn to want to KO the opponent's Vs. Schmelony, draw 3, has the DTE. Another V-Star for the next turn. A level ball is good as well. Could go get another Sobble. Probably wants to go get another Sobble if they don't have it already. Scoop of Net reset on the Drizzile. And then another Sobble. So going to have a ton of options next turn potentially as well. I'll have a prize card and a top deck to also work with. So Raphael is cruising. And this should probably lead to a victory for them. Or it's probably not going to lead to a tie. With how big of an advantage they have, as long as they don't take too much time playing their turns, they should be getting the dub here. Yeah, holding the big charm makes a ton of sense here. You don't want to, what's it called? But they are like shuffling their deck every time, which they should stop doing. There's no reason to do that. In between, just like if you're gonna do a follow-up action that searches your deck, just go do it. Tip out there for all of you to make sure you save your time. All right, I didn't see what they grabbed there. Yeah, 2 V-Stars prize for Victor, but not really a concern in this situation. Actually ends up just grabbing Marnie. Does find an Arceus off the top deck, and then here comes the Marnie. Does evolve the active Sobble, though, which I find curious. It looks like they don't want to play them. I'm confused now. Looks like they're not playing the Marnie yet, but they're shuffling their deck. I can't imagine why they would shuffle their deck unless they were about to play the... Oh, no, because Marnie doesn't shuffle your hand into your deck. In my head, I was like, Marnie shuffles your hand into your deck. Why would you shuffle your deck? But actually, Marnie shuffles your hand and puts it on the bottom of your deck. Just in case you guys didn't know. But yeah, for a second there, I was like, what is going on here? Why are we not just... Because Victor's been doing it, been pretty consistent about that, but I just forgot what Marnie did. All right, here we go. To the bottom. I don't know why the active Sobble was evolved instead of the bench Sobble. That confuses me a little bit because now you just potentially lose your Drizzile. Now you don't have access to Shady Dealings until next turn, but maybe they favor the Sobble instead, which is like fair, I guess. Like maybe you favor the Sobble. The big charm hit is huge, but had a level ball, so they could have got a Drizzile and done that. So maybe they favor the out to Drizzile over the out to the Inteleon, which I guess is still fair, to be honest. And probably you probably just hold a hand here. You probably just pass, I think. And then Raphael can't KO that Arceus. Raphael could boss punch it though, which wouldn't be bad, but I also think I think also just hitting the Drizzile is also pretty good, and then boss chasing the Arceus they set up from there. But I have a feeling that Raphael's going to boss punch that Arceus, which I don't dislike, but I don't think it's necessary. I feel like the way the prize trade goes, this doesn't matter that much, because you still have to like boss a 1-prizer at some point, which is basically the same thing as bossing this. I think you'd rather be able to boss their V on the turn after, but I guess you can still do that, so maybe it's just correct to play it this way anyways. But instead you could have like played a research return and set up more and then KO'd the Drizzile and played for the boss KO on the V with your choice banded or choice belted V-Star instead. I don't know. We'll see. Still a decent amount of time. We'll see if it's going to be enough though. 1 card hand here for Raphael. Like I said, is not going to get the KO on the active here. And there's the hit. No energy to search out. Okay, let's see what Victor can do here. Definitely has some options in hand. Has that level ball for the Drizzile, like I mentioned. So they hopefully can pull off an attack this turn. Oh, they should almost guaranteed be able to, because they can go find their V-Star. So they could go like Melanie this turn. Because they do have a water energy in the discard pile. So yeah, they can go level ball for Drizzile, for Evolution Incense, for Arceus, and then V-Star Birth. Or Star Birth, V-Star Birth, V-Star Power or Star Birth should be able to get whatever they need. Stopping that Charon loop. I mean, you stop the Charon loop just by boss KOing the V as well, though. Like that also stops the Charon loop. You just need to take a knockout, and that stops Charon looping. All right, so what are they going to go for here? I like the idea of the Melanie, but you could also go for like DTE plus draw supporter, I guess, here as well from Victor. There it is, though. Starbirth. DTE for sure will be being searched out. The question is, what is the other card going to be? They lined up another V, but they have a V in hand, so that would be a little bit curious. Maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they're going to split their energy on 2 Vs. I could see that. That would be interesting. So that way they can kind of guarantee get another... Oh, I kind of like that, actually. Then they could guarantee get another V-Star in play, and then if Raphael does chase a V... But it looks like they're going with Shady Dealings instead. I actually kind of like the double V play, though. If you get 2 Vs down this turn... but they're going with the Shady Dealings, so maybe they're still going to do that. They just want more options for the next turn. So maybe this turn they're going to grab Quick Ball plus Scoop Up Net. And then they'll still do that. So they'll get 2 Vs in play, one with 2 energy, one with 1 energy. And then if Raphael goes Chase 1, then you can go Charon's Care, the active, put the Big Charm on the bench V again. And then you can kind of get into that Charon loop a little bit. Giving up the boss here. You don't like to do it, but might not have a choice here for Victor. Definitely wants to try and get to that loop stage. There we go. Goodbye Energy Search. Low Arceus V. Yeah, so wants to do the double Arceus V play here. I do like it. I'm interested to see how it plays out. DT. So now they can go 2-1 on the energy, or even maybe 1-1. They could do the 1-1, but I think they'll probably see a 2-1. And this means even if Raphael chases one of them, then you can Charon's Care your Arceus V-Star, bench down the V again with a Big Charm. So maybe you go 1-1 here to leave energy in the deck. You could go 3-on-1 as well, but that seems weird to get 2 Arceus if you're gonna go 3-on-1. But this allows you to get the kind of the Charon loop cooking a little bit by getting the double Arceus V here. If you don't grab double Arceus V, then if Raphael just boss KOs the one on the bench, you have to then send up the damage Arceus V-Star, and you can kind of lose from there. So I actually really like this play. I really like this play. Both of his V-Stars are... That is true, though. Both of Victor's V-Stars are prized. I forgot about that. Both of Victor's V-Stars are prized. I did forget about that. That is true. So, to be honest, this play does a whole ton of nothing for Victor. And actually, maybe it would have been better for Victor to just grab 1 V-Star to try and, like, bait Raphael into chasing it. But Raphael only had a 1-card hand, so the chance that Raphael has, like, the boss choice belt play isn't super high. But I guess they got some prize cards to work with. So, no, they did get prize cards to work with, so they went with the boss hit. So... yeah, so maybe that's yeah, so if they never have the boss play, sheesh. This is gonna get rough here for Victor, because Raphael's definitely gonna retreat here and hit. And then for Victor, you have to attack with your V and boss KO their V-Star. And then Raphael is a choice belt away from KO that V and then boss KO a Sobble or a Drizzle on the bench. So this is just like really bad for Victor. Yeah, the double prize V-Stars is just rough. Unless Victor plays 4 V-Star. Unless they play 4 V-Star. It is possible. That card in their hand looked like a V-Star, but I don't think it was. No, it's not. They had a card in the hand that looked like a V-Star to me, but... when you look at their hand right then, when they just went through it, there was no V-Star, so... Arceus V bench and just take the KO here for Raphael. Going down to 3 prize cards. Did not get the V-Star off the prize cards, though. So now this Arceus V on the bench here for Raphael is just kind of just hanging out. Just chilling. I wonder if Victor knows that they prize double V-Star. I wonder if they checked that. From how they played the game, I would say yes. I just like watching them play the game makes me think they're a fairly knowledgeable and disciplined player, but... we'll see if they check their prize cards or not. I'm very curious to find out. This might be the turn where they go, wait, what? We'll see. Going through again. And that's the reaction of someone who had no idea that their other 2 V-Stars were prized. And that's why you check your prize cards. I definitely had no clue that their V-Stars were prized. That's why you check your prize cards. There's the Clara grab, though. Okay, so Clara still gets him there. Yeah, from the way they were playing, it definitely seems so, but yeah, definitely not. The Clara still gets the V-Star back, though, but this still makes it weird, though, because they can't V-Star their benched one, and their Big Charm is gone. So that benched V is just kind of hanging out there, which means Raphael just has to go boss choice belt into boss to win the game now. So They could just lose to that at this point. Yo, appreciate the 28 months there, Wizarino. Let's see. Here we go. Sabi's coming down. They have the Inteleon. They got some good options, but like they're behind. They're behind. And there's nothing they can really do to stop Raphael from being just the person who wins this game first. All right, we're shipping Arceus. Are we shipping Arceus? Arceus is up. Yeah, so we could see the boss here from Raphael. I think they have it available to themselves as well. And nothing prize. That's important. Finally get a V-Star there for Victor. Victor's probably like, jeez, bro. I think Victor is the one who's prized 2 V-Stars twice now, and Raphael prized them once. So with the way the turns are currently set up, Raphael can always win this game if they don't whiff. If they whiff, though, if they hit time on this turn, it's possible Victor whiffs. So it's possible Victor can't win the game. Like if Victor has a whiff on a turn. But they'll probably hit 50 minutes here on Raphael's turn, which will make Raphael turn 0. And then Raphael has to get the 2 prize knockout right now. Or Victor would have to whiff the Charon's care to avoid the tie. So they'll definitely hit time before this turn is up. So Victor needs to hit the knockout on the benched. Okay, has the big charm for the bench, their own bench, but they benched the Crobat, so it's still a 2 prize are kind of hanging out. They got the boss. They have an Ultra Ball, so it looks like pretty good draws so far. So they have the boss, so they can boss it up. They just need the Choice Belt. But with the Ultra Ball, they should be able to get the Choice Belt. And then from there, they're just a boss away on one of the bench Pokemon to close out the game. So here comes that Ultra Ball. What do they got here? Looks like the Inteleon's there. Shady Dealings, Choice Belt plus Palpad or Scoop Up Net is what I'd like to see. Scoop Up Net makes a little bit more sense to me to reset it and then go Drizzile to find the Palpad, because you still need to find that other boss afterwards. They might not have access to the Scoop Up Net though. All right, Choice Belt Palpad. So they don't have access to that second boss though, I don't think. Yet the hand didn't look like it had a Drizzile. It could have. But I don't know if there was a net left for Raphael, though. But if you get the net, then you reset the Inteleon, then you're basically set up for game on the following turn. Now, the one play I see here from Victor would be for Victor to actually go boss the benched Arceus or Crobat of Raphael and try and trap it in the active to stall. So now that's time. That's 50 minutes. So Raphael's turn 0. Now Victor is playing for a tie. Victor wants this game to tie so that they end up both at 5-2-1, and then they have a potential for a win in it again. But if Raphael beats Victor here, Victor can no longer make day 2. I think there might be like 1 or 2 6-3s that make day 2, but you're not going to bet on trying to be that 1-6-3, right? So you want this game to tie right now. So Raphael, hit, knockout, the water energy. Okay, so from Victor, if Raphael has a boss, you lose. I don't think Raphael has an out to a boss in hand. I could be wrong. But but Raphael should only have 1 more turn here. Maybe time hasn't been called quite yet. Maybe this clock is a little bit fast. In which case, if Raphael has 2 turns, I think Raphael can always pull this one off. No. Raphael did point to themselves. So I think, let's see what they're giving us. They're about to put the... Oh, we can't see the die, though. I think he set it up to show the stream whose turn is whose, but he put it a little bit too high, so we actually can't see it. So we're not sure. I think Victor... Let's just assume Victor's turn 1, though. I think it's fine to assume a Victor's a turn 1 here, though. So I think Victor's best play... Victor needs 4 prize cards. Victor's best play, I'm pretty sure, is just Boss Arceus pass. Or Judge hit the active and hope they don't have the Shady Dealings. And they have both options. They have the Judge. They have the Boss. I guess Marnie's a little bit better than Judge, because if you're playing the shuffle draw, then you're assuming your opponent has an out to the Drizzile in hand. So instead of playing Judge, you should Marnie it to the bottom of the deck. So here as Victor, you probably want to actually play Marnie if you can get access to it. I think you can. You have Net plus Palpad in the deck, and I think you played Marnie turn 1 here as Victor. So Victor should either go get Marnie, and then Boss Arceus pass. I think would be the play here. Because otherwise Raphael just wins. There's a Palpad and a net. There's the Palpad. They see the Marnie play, so they're gonna go for the Marnie play. I guess they actually could have KO'd this Arceus with... They could have KO'd this Arceus here with the Baby Moltres. If Victor could have done that. I didn't see that play. But they would need the Choice Belt. They would need a lot. And I don't know if something's prized, but... They would need like Choice Belt KO active. All their Dark Energy seems to be tied up on their active, so they'd have to play their Clara, but they already played their Clara. But they did get the reset there. But I think they're going for the Marnie play here. But yeah, the Moltres play would have actually been okay, I guess, because then you force Raphael to have another V-Star plus a DTE, which they might just not have, right? It's possible Raphael doesn't have V-Star plus DTE. We know they have the V-Star, but DTE is not a card you can just have. I guess they could have had Raihan or Melanie, so maybe it's better. But yeah, so it looks like Victor's going for the Marnie play. Boss, I think, was still a reasonable choice, though. I think Boss from Victor is a reasonable choice here instead of the Marnie. I don't know which one's actually better. Now they're debating between Marnie and Judge, but if you're shuffling their hand over using Boss, that means you think they have the Shady Dealings out in hand. If you think they have it in hand, you don't want to Judge because they can draw back into it, but if you Marnie, they can't draw back into it. So you either Marnie or Boss, you never Judge. Judge is actually always a mistake here, because if you're judging, that means if you Judge here, that means you're saying, oh, you have Shady Dealings in hand. But if they have Shady Dealings in hand, then now they can draw back into it with Judge, but if you Marnie them, they can't draw back into it. So this is a mistake here from Victor. It never makes any sense to Judge that I can see. I still think it's very debatable that Boss actually might be better, though. I think Boss is still maybe better on the Arceus and be like, either you don't have the Shady Dealings out in hand, you have to top deck, but then now you have to have a top deck plus a way to move your Arceus, or you don't have both pieces in hand. Maybe you have the Shady Dealings for the... maybe you have the Shady Dealings for the what's it called, but not the other way around. Yeah, Judge is always worse than Marnie there. Judge is always worse than Marnie there. Because if you're shuffling their hand into their deck, overdoing the Boss play, you're saying they have a Shady Dealings out in the hand. Why shuffle it back into the deck, I think, is the question. There's Shady Dealings, there's Boss, though, and Raphael beats Victor. Victor falls. In the mirror match, it looked like almost like a 60-60 mirror, to be honest. It was super close. I think Raphael played Trading Court, Victor played Collapse Stadium was the only difference that I saw for sure. That was, yeah, whoever went first won the game. That was whoever went first won the game. Victor had a really bad turn one. So that definitely hurt him. But yeah, it was basically whoever went once won the game in that one, basically. And yeah, Raphael wins. And that's round 8. One more round in round 9 coming up.